Okay, this is too good. Jack in a box. Good afternoon, folks. Gord is my name, and for 55 years it was an honor and a privilege to call Jackie my sister. Others called her aunt, mom, grandma, and friend. Mark Twain once said, when you get to the pearly gates, don't spit or cuss and leave your dog outside. You get in on order, not merit. If it was merit, your dog would be getting in and you'd be waiting outside. Great friend of mine, Ken White, is with us today. He once said his dad, who was in his 80s at the time, told him, I hate eulogies. They always lie about the person. No lies today, just a few embellishments, we think. That same gentleman also said, when public speaking, there should be an opening and a closing and not much in between. We'll do our best. Jacqueline Lee Sharp was born in McLennan in 1950 to Bob and Lorraine Sharp. Dad built roads for a living and they traveled a lot before settling in Grand Prairie, where Jack, Judy, and I attended school. She married at 18, lived in Leduc, many places, then Rocky Mountain House, then Leduc. She and Chuck had two sons, Jason and Rob, who married Chantel and Elena and had kids of their own, Jack's grandkids, Ava, Ashton, and Carter. She went back to work in her mid-40s. Not easy, starting on the midnight shift in the convenience store, gradually working her way up to the post office. Her work was very important to her, and she told the doctor at the Cross just the day before she died, I just want to go back to work. She died on October 11th at 62, but that's just the chronology of Jack's life. There is so much more to this wonderful lady. Somebody once asked George Carlin what he wanted on his tombstone, and he said, gee, I was just here a minute ago. Boy, doesn't it seem like that with Jack. Rob and Jace will speak after me, Sister Judy Logan, then Donna Davies from the Cole family. All will share memories of this lady who was christened Jacqueline Lee Sharp. Boys have put together a great slideshow, and we'd like you to join us for lunch afterwards. This lady who was happiest when working hard, when surrounded by her boys and girls and grandkids, her love of animals and the soil, of John Wayne and Western movies, how it's Morgan Freeman's tough luck that they never slept together. Her love of music and how she made a friend late in her life named Charlie Pride. It was Jack's admitted boneheadedness with a computer that led to the meeting the great country star. The boys will talk more on that later. I have to say my sister was the funniest person I ever met. Private, as kind as anyone, didn't want this service, didn't think anybody would show up. Look, kiddo, they're here. One who pretended to be a simple person but couldn't contain her wit nor her intelligence. Her language would make a 20-year Navy man turn and run in the other direction. Her profanity was delicious to hear, and I miss it greatly, as do some others I can tell her. She always said, I never want to bother anyone. Well, kiddo, you were never a bother. A pain in the ass, yes, but never a bother. I was going to say she had the courage of a lion, but as we know from Discovery Channel, lions just lay around fornicating, feeding, and sleeping. She wouldn't have said fornicating. They can fight, sure, but it's the lioness that does the pride proud. So Miss Jackie from February on was the lioness. I have many great memories of Jack. I'm going to stick to 2012, for it's this year, I believe, that illustrates best who Jackie was. It's said by many, what we are comes from who we were. Jack's courage was exemplified in her dad, who volunteered and served with distinction in World War II. Her beloved Grandpa Sharp, who was mustard gassed at Vimy Ridge in that great and terrible battle. Grandma Stickle, who worked a dozen hours a day during the Depression running a restaurant, and a mom who was beautiful, athletic, and had 1,000 skills. All these folks and many others in all our families past, as so many others endured great hardship, continue to laugh, love, and live. Jack always used to say about our family, we ain't the Waltons, bro. That's good, I said. The Waltons slept together. We got some chuckles out of that one. In Chinese medicine, my acupuncturist, Dr. Su, says they believe 2 breaths are most important in one's life. The first and the last, for in both, the breath is telling the person all is possible. Courage, it is said, is not the lack of fear, it's putting fear aside and moving ahead. Our friend Jackie was not wealthy. She was not powerful or influential. Yet when the diagnosis came that February day, her voice was calm and resolute. I have an aggressive cancer, 20% chance, but the cross people say they can help me. Then I will too, and your boyos, and Elena and Chantel. So the battle started. In the weeks ahead and months, my quiet sister gritted her teeth, as her dad used to tell us to do, and was there for over 60 chemo and radiation treatments. Through these weeks, I saw her hair fall, but not her attitude. And at the cross, I saw her joke with the patients, the nurses, and the doctors, and us. I saw her eat food that no person over the age of 12 should eat. A billy goat would turn from some of the stuff Jackie used to eat. Gummy bears for breakfast, pork rinds for lunch, and worse for supper. But that was Jack. I saw her body weaken and shrink horribly. Saw the bone-numbing fatigue that set in, but I never saw her complain nor quit. Lionesses don't do that. One day late in May, we had the conversation. She asked me about that next world thing and my thoughts. We'd been raised in a church and she wanted the truth. Why didn't I believe and why an atheist? Not an atheist, kiddo, just a garden variety agnostic. I don't know there isn't any more than that guy over there knows there is. I spent 35 years in a business watching terrible things happen to good people. Another agnostic, Abe Lincoln, said, do good and you feel good. Do bad and you feel bad. That's my view on religion. That was his quote. She liked that one and didn't say much else, but I could see that mind of hers working. Her response would come the morning she died. So all those chemos and radiations, down almost 50 pounds, no appetite, no energy. It was only after the treatment that horrible pain was with her in her shoulder neck area. Jay and I were in the room that day several weeks ago that the oncologist said the tumors had shrunk, better health was ahead. If only. September was nightmarish until we got the pain med she needed. There were no more answers from science. With the cancer she had, her time was drawing near. The lioness had been fatally wounded, and it was only a matter of time. I asked her to come back to Grand Prairie for a change of scenery. She refused, saying her boys and grandkids were in Leduc. She felt like crap, and she would stay at her apartment. Jason, Rob, Elena, and Chantel and those beautiful grandkids kept her going. She still swore like Patton, still insisted on her independence, still worried more about when other people were sick, and was stubborn to the end. I knew it was bad just looking at her, but I never thought when I returned that last week that that would be it. Would we get a Christmas? A new year? Surely this kid who had so much bad luck in her life would get a break. October 9th, Jack was so sick she basically couldn't move. So I went to her Dr. Abel, her longtime wonderful physician, and got stronger meds and made an appointment for Jack for Friday, one she would not be able to keep. Then the cross phoned with the change in meds and wanted to see her the following day. That's a day for us that would live in infamy. When we were told Jack needed hospitalization, the cancer was a raging fire inside her. Bad day. But she still laughed, she still cussed, and she still joked. But by the time we got her home, she was exhausted. And she said several times, "It's all good. I'm ready." I thought she meant for the hospital. Man, was I wrong. She slept from 4 p.m. till 10, rose for a half hour, then slept till 4. Absolutely whipped. Friends, during the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln commissioned a regiment called the 54th, the first African-American regiment of that war, given an impossible suicide mission to take Fort Wagner, South Carolina, the most heavily fortified fortress of the war. Behind it lay Charleston Harbor. The 54th knew July 18, 1863 would be, for most of them, their last day. but because of their heroism, thousands more black soldiers would be commissioned and help turn the tide of that awful war. They called it their Great Getting Up Morning. Turns out Thursday, October 11th, was Jack's Great Getting Up Morning. Began at 4 a.m. when her bedroom light clicked on, got her up and mobile, and seated on the living room couch. Very coherent but quiet and staring into space for several minutes. Thinking about Dad, I asked her. She had a very peaceful look and she said, and Mom. We chatted a bit about her going into the hospital, her kids and grandkids, and the last 8 months and how tough it's been. I've decided something, bro, that there is life after death and I'm going to be part of it. Will you go, girl? If anyone deserves it, Jackie Sharp does. The next 20 hours, she was pretty much unconscious, from J&J and I taking her to Grey Nuns, the terrific care she received there, to a change coming over her at 4 in the afternoon from sleeping to struggling. That valiant struggle would end at 11:53 p.m. when her last breath would come. She died almost 24 years after her dad, 5 years, 2 days after her mom, the first of Bob and Lorraine's kids to fall. Thank you, Lioness, for always asking after Jane and I and our kids. You were so easy to please, kiddo. Taking Jack out for dinner, you'd think she won a lottery. Though she preferred fast food and garbage, she would take a nice restaurant from time to time. We were going to help look after you in retirement, lady, just 3 more years. But it wasn't to be. But she didn't die alone. Her sons and daughters were right there, and she woke up briefly to smile at little Carter, a great moment. Girl, yours was not a life wasted. You were the best of us, and if it seems we've lost our right arms, we have, but our left arms are strong, and we will continue on until it's our great getting up morning. You never quit. You fought the good fight, and your kids did great, Jackie. Jay and Rob were right there at the end. You and Chuck raised 2 intelligent, passionate, hard-working, caring lads. Your goodness and intelligence and crazy humor will live through them for generations to come. They're coming up next, kiddo. I can't say much more about this lady, but there are some words Ted Kennedy spoke at his brother Bobby's funeral in 1968. They've comforted me for some time. My brother need not be idealized or enlarged beyond what he was in life. A good and decent man who saw wrong and tried to right it, saw suffering and tried to heal it, saw war and tried to stop it. I love you, Lioness. That ferocious pain is gone. Sleep well, Jack.